Thanks, Basil. Well, tonight we're joined by RE/MAX broker Matt Sweeting, who is talking about real estate. Over the holidays, many of you may have received a little extra cash. Well, tonight Matt is here to tell us how to turn those dollars into real estate opportunities. Welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, Access Now.
Good to be here.
Now, as we were saying, many people seem to have gotten a little bit of extra money over the holidays. How can they turn that holiday gift into some real estate?
Right. So for most people, those holiday money is less than $10,000. Matter of fact, it's probably less than $2,500. My strong suggestion is put that money in savings. If you have the goal of home ownership in 2026, put that in a savings account that you do not have access to. Let that be a jump start towards your home ownership goals of 2026. Open a credit union account, put it in an account you don't touch, and let's start working towards the money that you need towards the actual goal of home ownership.
So as part of that process, what advice would you have for someone who maybe they aren't just starting with that money that they've got this Christmas, but what advice would you have for those that are working with a smaller budget for their first property that they want to buy?
Absolutely. One of the things we oftentimes see is that people who are on their first purchase, they don't have a large qualification, a large budget, they want everything to be perfect. My suggestion is start small. The home that you get today is not your forever home. Right? If you're in your 20s, 30s, or even your 40s, this home that you're starting with now is just to get you in the game, right? 5 years later, 6 years later, you come back to me, say, Matt, sell this because I want something else.
Right.
Or you have enough equity that you can now go on to the next purchase.
And how would you describe the current real estate climate in the Bahamas? Would you say it's a good time to invest? Everyone always has their opinions on which way the economy is going to go. What's your take on it? Certainly.
It's a perfect time to invest. The Nassau, more specifically, real estate market is super strong right now. And as I think about the market, there are two ends of the spectrum, right? There's a spectrum if I'm a seller and I'm considering selling, well, it's a great time to sell, right? Some indications of that is how many days a property is staying on the market. Well, very little days on market. People are getting above asking in some cases, and we've seen probably more bidding wars I've seen in my 20-year career than I've ever seen before. And so for sellers, it's an absolute great market. But for buyers, it's also good as well because real estate is continuing to appreciate in this market. And so if you don't buy now, what is $300,000 today might be $350,000 next year.
It's true. Now, do you have any specific areas or property types you'd recommend when it comes to these investments?
Yeah, certainly. I think, again, if we're talking for our entry-level buyer, I think that income properties are the kinds of properties that where you should put your focus, right? Your goal over the next, let's call it 5 to 10 years is how do I find a property that I like and that's going to now help me to move on to the next step in terms of real estate. Income property would be my answer there.
All right, now I have to throw this one in just because, you know, it's not only people in Nassau that watch Access Now. You often hear people say, well, what about those family island investments? What is your take on, even if you're living in Nassau, having a property in a family island?
Yeah, absolute good question. You know, some of the islands that we see considerable growth in and considerable interest in is Eleuthera, Exuma, Abaco, and so there are a number of family islands that are doing extremely well. You know, the anecdote for Eleuthera is you can't build it fast enough before it's rented or sold. And so, yeah, there's a lot of interest in the family islands. If you have an opportunity there, I strongly suggest to seize it.
Amazing. Well, Matt, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We can't wait to have you back again soon.
Appreciate it.